not exaggerating, maybe the best day of my life. Really great.
It's up there. It's definitely top 5, isn't it? I just everything went well. It was everything I wanted out of that day. How long we've all been looking forward to it, and I don't think I could have written a better version of that day, to be honest. It was
No.
perfect.
Yeah.
I know sometimes the game of football likes to remind us why we all love it so much, doesn't it?
I left my front door and I was like, this is amazing. And then I walked out the door of the bar and I was like, this is also amazing. And then I finally was walking through the turnstiles and it was like, this is still amazing. Like every time that I walked into a new place that day, it was just like a completely different buzz that was around the whole city. I lived like a block from Argyle Street, and at noon on that match day, it was nearly as busy as I saw it on like any night. It was really, really incredible.
Just going into all the pubs and seeing nothing but Wanderers shirts.
I couldn't believe it when we walked into the
same.
blind. Everybody was wearing a Wanderers.
When you ask people what they love about Halifax, the word that comes out is love. I love it here, and definitely see such a big impact in the community, and everyone walking from Nice or walking from Dirty Nellies and meeting up in Rogers Square, and you saw the whole crowd and see how loud and happy the smile and yelling how people was. It just, you couldn't do anything but love it.
Yeah, nobody likes hearing about a great party that they just missed, but if you didn't go to that game, you missed a really good party. An absolute ton of energy flowing through that stadium. I really couldn't believe it. Personally, I was in the end zone in between the goal post and the kitchen, and anytime you wanted any inspiration, you just looked up at the kitchen crew. Those guys were insane.
I actually didn't get to witness live the Perea goal. I was walking back towards the kitchen when it happened, and the sound like blew me away. It just the roar of the crowd was so loud, it almost like knocked me over. It was amazing. I was actually glad to be out of the kitchen for it, because I kind of got to appreciate, like, for the last almost 3 years, working really hard to make that happen, and I got to actually feel the full force of that hit me all at once. It was awesome.
When that ball came free, it was like time stopped. I felt like I saw Luis's eyes widen when he saw that ball was available, and came in and just drove it into the back of the net. It's going to be probably years before another goal kind of affects us that much, because it was such a decisive moment of just our hugest milestone of the day.
I think at least for the really ingrained Canadian soccer fans, the Canadian Championship and the Voyageurs Cup specifically is seen as a trophy with real history and something that is very prestigious to win. So the fact that a Halifax team is actually represented in it is kind of a big deal.
I think the cup is essential, and the growth of the cup is essential, because cup competitions is a completely different atmosphere. The beauty about the cup is the ability of underdog teams, so to speak, to knock off a bigger team. And it's also important to raise the expectations of players that are not playing in the league, but also to raise the standards of their clubs in order to come in and play this competition and give the best possible showing. I think the cup is important to the club, it's important to the fans, and we have to be prepared in every way possible. But it can only grow. I think it's fantastic that it's been expanded, and we are all involved.
Super excited for it. I don't think it would really matter who we were playing right now. I would be excited for it. You look at it and you see this amateur team coming from Ontario to play us, and then you think, okay, well, the flip side of this is that it's possible that next time is going to be possibly TFC coming here, or Montreal coming here, and just how crazy that would be.
Remember, we are at the start of a journey where in 3 matches' time we could play Toronto in the semi-final. It's not impossible, so we could be the huge underdogs one day, and
Or even just the chance to play Ottawa.
That's what I was going to say.
before that. Yeah, that's true.
I think you're going to see a ton of energy. People will now know what to anticipate, and anybody who was at that first game will be excited to go to the game, whether it's a Wednesday, a Tuesday, a Saturday. It won't really matter. And also anybody who didn't go would have probably heard about it from a friend. I think there'll be a really good crowd, and I think people will have high energy. You know, maybe beer sales won't be quite as much on a Wednesday night, but that's okay. That's not what it's about. It's about the soccer.
I think it's almost become part of the city now, and there's a big soccer culture here now, and we're seeing that through the attendance numbers we're getting. It's really great to see, and I think we're a big team here now in Halifax, and people realize that, and the support we get, it's amazing, and it means the world to us.
I wouldn't say there's a buzz, but it's definitely bubbling under the surface. People have kind of half ideas about it, and obviously most of the people I work with know I'm into football, so they're asking me about it and wanting to know more about it, and they're all very surprised by how well the tickets have sold. I don't think outside of the football environment in Halifax people realise how big the sport is here.
There's almost a hesitance from people to get too invested in it, because so many people I spoke to were so cynical about it early on, and when you hear about it, like, how is that ever going to happen, traveling across the country, and then to see the numbers that they're putting up in terms of ticket sales and that they've been so successful with the media deal and everything else, I think is adding legitimacy to the league, and I guess making people more likely to jump into it.
I'm starting to see people cluing into the fact that soccer supporters are kind of different from other kinds of sports fandom, and I'm seeing that from people that maybe haven't paid much attention to soccer at all, and just the conversations I'm having at pubs when people just come up to us and they just feel like they can just strike up conversations with us and say, hey, you know, we really like what you're doing and this is exciting to us and we want to be a part of it. And people who maybe wouldn't have considered buying a ticket even a few, weeks or months ago now really want to jump in and experience this.
For the team, I just hope we win. That's the goal when you go into any season, is to win the league, to do the best we can. As for personally, I just want to, get minutes at this level and excel at it and be able to come out here each match and be able to help my team make a difference and help win. That's what we're about at the end. That's what we're paid to do, win football matches.
After the first game, it felt more surreal because you saw how many people were there. 6,200 people were there, all went for the first game. It's only going to keep on growing and keep on growing, keep on getting bigger. And I think as time goes by, a lot of people more in this province are going to get more knowledgeable about the sport itself, because they're going to see how their kids react towards those kind of things, and their neighbors and the fans, and to see how the community and the city gets behind this one team. So Halifax and Nova Scotia is more of a hockey culture, but now that we have basketball, we got lacrosse, we have soccer. Halifax is going to be one of the biggest cities when it comes to sports franchises going on throughout Canada, and it's good to have soccer here because it's the biggest sport in the world. And why wouldn't you want to have such huge supporters and such huge fans of the game here in Halifax?
Sport is all about community. This only works if the entire community buys into it and feels like it's an asset, and that all pays off. It takes time and it takes a lot of energy and effort, but people really respecting us and not feeling like we're just trying to sell them something, but feeling like we're giving them something. It's not a commodity. We're kind of in this together trying to build a club, and that's the right way to do it.